Hello, my name is Tevo and I'm a developer in Swarm Treasury guild. There have been some questions about Treasury in general, about what people can do with these services and what data we generate and what we can do with that. So I'm going to give a quick overview. So here is like a journey or a process map of where does the Treasury sit. So we start with data gathering. So we do create data, or this tool can be used to create data, but mostly it's meant to automate data generation based on inputs. And what we use for inputs are basically project management tools. We use right now Twork. However, there is an option to also integrate with GitHub or Jira or other these kinds of tools. We have developed like a standard of what the information is needed from that. And we also have some other tools that we are using, for example, Zoom for importing participation information, event information, and custom reward tables are things like if you want to reward people who submit to Google form or share surveys or have just custom lists of information of payouts. And then, of course, Clockify is right now tool to source project management information. And Clockify, what it does is you start your time, then you do your activity, and you title kind of your time that you spent. And then when okay, I move to the next task, you click the button, and then it calculates towards another activity. And that can be imported in, and then in Treasury Manager, basically, we can use this imported information and combine it with wallet addresses. We will be able to distribute it and the project management contributions or participations towards a specific wallet. In addition, we do some automations and configuration. So, for example, if somebody does a meeting, then we already there are like tables where you can configure that, okay, every time these specific words are in the names or tags are used, then it auto-populates an option to choose task labels for us, like, okay, this is a documentation task, this is a community communication, this is content creation, this is facilitation, so on. There are a lot of stuffs that come up. We have standardized like the main tasks and labels we used. So, for example, yeah, we kind of don't use like operations, and like different management or like different words of the same kind of meaning and aggregated into like one meta task label. And all of that, once you kind of pre-configure, it also has this effect that with more communities, you can leverage the open source data and already what on some other community has labeled their information, you can use these suggestions to label your data, so you don't have to come up with all of this labeling yourself. And then there is like a top of configuration where you can configure it to your own specific needs and then automate even the process of labeling based on suggestions, but already have predetermined tasks and labels on specific terms your culture uses. In addition, we have some transaction data. So there are some items that are collected but not put on chain. For example, proof link, but you can switch and on and off. You can do we can do different kind of opportunities there. The way you kind of need your metadata be seen. But yeah, the way we are using, for example, proofs of work done is not put on chain. But if team management or project leads or product leads or any of like related people would ever need to see the actual results and the tangible asset that was produced and rewarded. And that can be, of course, is collected and can be seen. And on the metadata, we are using the concept of an array map to put like additional information about groups or labels or dates, because we found over like working with different teams and networks that not all of them want labels, or not all of them want to have like a specific dates or time series timeline there, or have a groups of like, okay, this is a work group, this is task force, like, and they just like one cohesive group. So all of these different like ways to express the contribution is under the array map, and you can come up with any kinds of keys you can come. And that is all just to have the like a metadata standard to be allowed to be used as many people and networks as possible, but still contain the key elements. Once, we have the project management information in, we enrich the data, we are then bundling into the Cardano bundle transactions. For now, that Excel itself is generating the JSON, and we are putting that to our Treasury decentralized application that then creates the transaction on Cardano on chain. We are also working towards multi-chain use cases. So all of this is more as a tool to adapt our needs to any kind of different blockchain, for example, Polkadot. From once the transaction is being paid, it also then updates our internal databases for easier data access, and then we also store additional information on GitHub and publish information to Discord members. And all of that then also ties in with the Treasury dashboard, which is used to visualize the data we have collected. Right now, this is the service is used by SingularityNet, so I'm going to give a quick brief on SingularityNet dashboard, but we also have a public Google Sheets so that every time we update any contributions, it will generate a new public sheet that people can follow through, and if they prefer like this sheet format. And here you can see the SingularityNet Treasury dashboard. It will list all of kinds of work groups and like areas that are rewarded in SingularityNet, how much budgets they have requested, how much budget they have given away, how much budget they have received from trades between each other, and just a good way to see how network evolves and what does have a cost, and all of the ambassador work is more like an emergent stuff. So it's quite interesting to see how different networks flourish themselves differently. We have some basic dashboards to compare the work groups, the demands, the costs, the tasks amounts, the contributions, and the contributors themselves. On top of here, you have different ways to filter it. So that's a useful tool to the project manager themselves and the program leads. For example, first question I said that we are going to answer here is what people can do with the data. So that's like the first information. People can analyze, see how the funds are moving, what is getting rewarded, how are different work groups doing, and how they're implementing their strategies. I could go on and on adding these. Okay, actually, right now I'm adding like multiple together. But like Q4 just started, and we kind of moved to the monthly reward. So and that's why it's nothing really seen here. But if I add quarter 3 and I maybe actually remove the quarter 4, okay, sorry, they removed. We can see like distributions and people, contributors, and what kind of activities this work group is doing and paying for. Another thing, what this data is providing. So I'm going to zoom out a little, and there are 2 dashboards I will show you. For example, one of the concept is this one, and that's just I made myself when I created when I analyzed my activity in Cardano ecosystem. So if you are a daily user, for example, like me, of recording different activities and putting on chain, this is the result I get back. I can see where my time is spent in different environments. Of course, not everything is tracked, and not every work group or project requires this kinds of thing, but making it easy to record your time, understand your time, and then having tools to analyze it is a very good like self-governance way to help people to self-organize. And another thing I wanted to show you is the data mapping and the research we have done, and particularly about it is the results itself. As you can see, it's very simple JSON format on the Cardano blockchain. You have, of course, the top part here, what is used for doing for Cardano blockchain to kind of understand what payments needs to be done, and the metadata for ourselves to build these kinds of dashboards and understanding of the data itself and the value of that, but it's organized in a way that it's useful for AI. Initially, when we started this project, which we never really kind of get into, is generate progress reports based on that. But yeah, because we never really got funded further after our initial concept, we didn't really need that solution. But it's definitely something that can be done with the data. And also, it has a lot of good insights of how to create your future proposals. When in a project management way or like in a project-based way, you do your activities and you record them and you continue providing that service another year or another quarter or whenever, however you produce your services and goods, you will then see like an actual list of what really takes it to get that work done. And right now, the LLMs are very well capable of ingesting that kind of large data and providing you very good results and insights into how could you leverage it and to express your activities, your goods to the fellow community members who are you providing the services for. So that's on the side of what the data is. And now how does it develop governance? And something to kind of keep in mind, the way Swarm has organized or helped other networks is with an emergent strategies. So we can get people together and use the skills and the intentions people have at present to manifest the future. So we are not coming up with specific frameworks, although back in the ground we may have the knowledge of, hey, okay, so you want to do this, maybe try this method or this process or learn about this book or concept. But over time of the discussions, you will then at some point find like a way, okay, how do we recognize people? And that is a key part of what we are doing here. So now when we get to the like what market or where the product fits, it is a bit of a niche in a sense that only for those organizations where it very matters then that they want to use the blockchain itself for transparency. And we are providing that kind of the bridge from centralized tools to decentralized tools. And here, what is important here is we are also, with all the other communities who are working with, we are on a journey to having that open source ecosystem being built up and like leveraging each other's data to help to make sense of what is value and how to recognize it and how to reward it. And finally, this, I guess, comes to like what is the practical help we provide with all these tools and services, taking away that the time sink that takes to gather that information for coming up with payments, or like in current world where we are doing like invoices one person to another, in blockchains we can do all kinds of very cool contracts and dynamics of payments and pools and trigger effects. And so that's on one side, just simplifying payments on blockchains. And right now, our like main blockchain what we use is Cardano. And that also helps us to distribute any kinds of your tokens. So you can come up with any value you want to create and provide. And this platform, our dApps are fully capable of from creating and distributing these tokens. On another side, where the practical value comes from, are the dashboards and organized data that can be used to figure out outliers, to figure out project costs, to just help to understand what is the cost of doing what we do. Because every person is just working on the things they are working on, but they might not see the big picture. So these numbers and the information that people are providing to the project management tools and the input tools will be transformed into graphics and narratives that people can use to steer their communities or organizations. If there is a support and interest in using thin tools, over time we will develop ourselves to be more mature ecosystem to provide help to larger and larger communities. Oh, and speaking of large communities, one downside, I guess, with this tooling is that if you're a small team, you might be a bit actually an overhead to use this service. Of course, it will give you all the amazing data, but you will need that passion to provide that insight. It doesn't cut any cost for you, because it's meant for more like a mass production that you need 100 contributions every week to 50 different individuals, and then where you actually see the efficiency getting into it. But for small teams, yes, it can be used, but the learning curve to get the sense of what we are building and what are all of these components, what value these adds, will actually take more time than just making a wallet transaction from your own private wallet. Yeah, assuming you are gonna have only like 10 or 50 transactions per year. Yeah, so thanks for listening. And if you have any questions, use the comments or chat or connect us in Discord.